Welcome to Plymouth Colony, the Pilgrims, 1620. Okay, so the year is 1620 and a group of English religious separatists, the Pilgrims, are gonna set sail from England on the Mayflower. They re-heading to the New World with the goal of establishing a settlement in the territory of the Virginia Company, and they've got their sights set on the area around the Hudson River. But as the ship makes its way across the Atlantic, a series of storms and navigational challenges force them way north of their intended destination. On November 11, 1620, the Mayflower anchors in what is now Provincetown Harbor, and after a brief stay, the Pilgrims set off for the land they have now dubbed New England. They sail south along the coast, and on December 16th, they anchor in Plymouth Harbor, a few miles south of where they had first landed. Now here's the thing, the Pilgrims had landed way outside the bounds of their original patent, which was the legal document that gave them permission to establish a settlement in the New World. And this threw them into a bit of a legal and political quandary. I mean, they were technically in a part of North America that was claimed by the Virginia Company, but they were also a good distance from any of the company's settlements, and since they didn't really have any clear legal authority over this territory, they decided to take matters into their own hands. Before disembarking, the Pilgrims drew up and signed a document called the Mayflower Compact, which established a system of self-government based on the principles of democracy and the consent of the governed. It was basically an agreement to form a political body that would make just and equal laws for the good of the colony, and it's considered to be one of the earliest examples of democratic self-government in North America. But the Pilgrims' legal and political challenges were just the beginning of their problems. The first winter in Plymouth was brutally harsh. Many of the settlers were exposed to the elements and suffered from scurvy and malnutrition. In fact, nearly half of the Pilgrims died before spring. Of the 51 who survived, they struggled to build shelters and cultivate food, but they were eventually able to get assistance from the Native Americans, particularly a man named Squanto, also known as Tisquinum, who taught them how to farm corn, fish, and gather other resources. This assistance was crucial for the colony's survival. In terms of governance, they were initially led by John Carver, who served as the colony's first governor, but he died in April of 1621. He was succeeded by William Bradford, who kept a detailed journal of the colony's early trials and successes. Bradford and the other surviving Pilgrims worked to establish a stable government, a thriving economy, and peaceful relations with the Native Americans. Bradford would go on to serve as governor for more than 30 years. Plymouth developed into a small but resilient community of about 500 people. They built houses and businesses, established Congregationalist churches, and created a system of local government. Relations with the local native tribes, particularly the Wampanoag under Chief Massasoit, were generally peaceful. In 1621, the Pilgrims celebrated the first Thanksgiving in October to give thanks for the successful harvest and the assistance they had received from the Native Americans, though Plymouth Colony was modest in size compared to the huge settlements that would be established in later years. It held an outsized place in American culture. The story of the Pilgrims and their struggle for religious freedom, their perseverance in the face of hardship, and their cooperation with the Native Americans became a foundational myth of the United States. The idea of the Pilgrims sharing a meal with Native Americans at the first Thanksgiving is a particularly enduring image that has come to symbolize the nation's cultural diversity and unity. Anyway, that's all for now. But if you want to learn more about the Pilgrims and their time at Plymouth, be sure to check out the additional resources. Thanks for tuning in.